There are two ways to lead a life. 1. Do nothing and suffer the consequences. Or 2. Take the responsibility to change it. The choice is yours. Hello and thanks for joining us on another episode of The Eagle, a program that chronicles the activities of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC. My name is Aisha Mohammed.
Imagine a society where everything works. Durable road networks, stable electricity supply, portable water, well-equipped and functional healthcare facilities, quality education for all, affordable housing schemes, social security benefits, job creation, and a lot more that makes life comfortable to live. That is an ideal society. We can only achieve these if we all play our part. Say no to corruption to enjoy these benefits. Kill corruption to save Nigeria. This message is from the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC.
Asset forfeiture or asset seizure is a form of confiscation of assets by the state. It is a powerful tool used by law enforcement agencies against criminals and criminal organizations to deprive them of their ill-gotten gains. Section 31 of the EFCC Establishment Act gives the Commission power to handle recovered assets. The section empowers the Secretary to the Commission to dispose of assets finally forfeited to the government. Assets of suspects of corrupt acts are usually traced in the course of investigations. After thorough investigation, a court of competent jurisdiction may be approached to consider forfeiture of assets suspected to be proceeds of economic and financial crimes. An interim forfeiture order or a final forfeiture order may be granted by the court. Assets may be buildings, money, landed properties, jewelries, vessels, among others. Here are excerpts from the interview the Eagle crew had with Secretary to the Commission, Olanipekun Olukoyede, and also the Director, Asset Recovery and Management, Ali Yusuf.
Section 31 of the EFCC Establishment Act 2004 specifically states that when assets are forfeited, whether to the federal government or to any individual as the case may be, that the Commission should take action in disposing the assets on behalf of the government. And specifically, if you look at subsection 2.3, says that the Secretary to the Commission should take necessary steps to dispose the assets as the case may be, and also remit the money if it's for the federal government to the consolidated revenue account. And if in any case, according to the directive of the court order for the victims, we also restitute, as it were, the victims, as the case may be. We need to understand about disposal of assets. So it has to be done in line with the dictates of the judgment or the court order. First. And secondly, of course, you are aware that we have the law guiding disposal processes in Nigeria, which we call the Public Procurement Act. Also, it has to be done in line with that, especially when you are trying to get people, maybe auctioneers and all that will do that. And again, there is also you have to also follow the administrative process. So those are the three variables. Now, what we do, first of all, the order dictates what we do. Now, when the order gives us the power to dispose, we do it in line with Public Procurement Act that has also dictated the process to follow in getting auctioneers and also in disposing such assets. And also, again, of course, as a government, you have processes and procedure guiding what you do. Of course, we must also know that there is a Presidential Asset Recovery Committee put in place. So we consider all this so that we ensure due process, in disposing these assets, and also in such a way that is going to be most transparent, so that people will not think that we have done anything and not in it in the process of disposing those assets. So those are the issues that we consider. Now, when you finish one stage, you move to another stage. We have been able to compile this at the assets involved, and we also, in accordance with the provision of the Act and also with the procurement process, we are trying to get auctioneers for them, and we are also trying to comply with government directives, as the case may be, in respect of those assets. But for the victims, as it were, those ones, they are very easy for us to do. What we just do is we restore the victim, we give the asset back to the victim. If it is money, our law dictates that we give directive to the bank where that money has been frozen, to restore either the victim or to pay it to the consolidated revenue account, as the case may be, in respect of the one that is forfeited to the federal government. The powers we exercise are dictated by the provisions of our law and also the directives of the judge handling the case. Now, the case we are talking about, mostly those assets are under either interim forfeiture arrangement, or those assets are tied to ongoing cases. Now, in that situation, before you take any step, you need to get the directive of the judge, an order from the judge. You file an application explaining to the judge that there's every propensity that this asset could be dissipated, especially petroleum products, perishable assets. And if in the opinion or in the wisdom of the judge, and if he agrees with your application, then he gives an order that those assets should be disposed pending the determination of the case. So, as it were, when you dispose those assets, you don't give the money to either the government or to whoever the victim is. What you do is that you keep the money pending the determination of the case, because you can never see which way the case will go.
We have two main categories of recoveries, which is contained in the EFCC Establishment Act. You have interim forfeited recoveries, and then you have final, forfeitures. Let me explain the first one, the interim. The interim forfeited properties is usually a situation where a matter is pending in court, or a matter is under investigation, let me say, and maybe in the course of investigation you trace assets. And the first step you have to take is to apply to court for interim forfeiture of that property, so that the property will not be dissipated, or the property will not be sold, otherwise be dealt with by the suspect. So you ask for interim forfeiture of the property pending the conclusion of investigation, and if possible, conclusion of prosecution. So that is the interim. Then the final one is a situation where the case has been concluded, and perhaps the defendant is found guilty, and maybe the court found that the property acquired is a process of crime. Then the court orders final forfeiture. There is also another category of forfeiture, the one you call civil forfeiture, whereby this is a proceeding against the property. The law provides, the EFCC Act, provides in Section 17 of the Advanced Free Fraud Act, provides that where property is suspected to be process of unlawful activity or crime, the Commission can take steps to forfeit the property by way of advertising the property in the newspapers. First of all, you go to court, ask for interim forfeiture, then ask for advertisement, and once it's advertised, anybody that has interest is required to come within 2 weeks before the court to show cause why the property should not be forfeited to government. And if nobody comes forward, or if somebody comes forward without reasonable explanation as to how he came about the property, then the property can now be forfeited to federal government, or as the case may be. So we have, let me say, this is another class of forfeiture, and the Commission has done very well in this aspect. We forfeited a lot of properties by way of civil forfeiture. If the money is recovered, if it is recovered and the forfeiture is in favor of federal government, what the law says is that it should be paid into consolidated revenue funds, and once it is paid there, the money is applied. Of course, there has to be appropriation, so it goes to that account, and then there has to be, it's part of the money that the National Assembly appropriates, which is used for different developmental, projects, So once it is paid there, then the money has to be appropriated. It's not money that is available to be spent, just like that. It has to be, it goes into that account, and then when it is time for budget, the National Assembly, appropriate the money. 2017 and 2018 budget were partly funded with forfeited or recovered monies. So that is what the money is utilized for. It's not available for spending as people think until it is appropriated by the National Assembly. It's not all recoveries that goes into consolidated revenue funds. There are recoveries that are made in favor of private individuals, corporate entities, individuals that are defrauded, and usually court orders restitution. So such recoveries are usually paid back to the victims. We have costs to pay money back to victims, Nigerians and foreigners, by way of, when court orders that such money should be paid to the victims, we are bound to comply and pay the money to them as what we call restitution. We have other categories of properties that the EFCC recovers. Real estate, we recovered vessels, vehicles, gold. So all types of properties, we normally recover in the course of investigation. And it depends. What do we do with these properties? It depends on the nature of the properties. If in the course of investigation you have an order of interim forfeiture of property, what usually happens is that the court directs that the property should be managed. A professional should be appointed to manage the property pending determination of the matter in court. So if it's a real estate, we have managers that manages them pending the completion of the case, prosecution, in court. If it is finally forfeited, of course, it's usually forfeited to federal government. Then the law provides that such properties should be sold and the proceeds paid into consolidated revenue, account of the federal government. That is, if the forfeiture is in favor of federal government. But if the forfeiture is in favor of individual, what it then means is that the property will be sold and the proceeds be used as restitution to such an individual. That is what the law provides under the EFCC Act.
Well, we hope this has answered a lot of questions being asked by citizens on what the EFCC does with asset recovered, and it is our hope that Nigerians now have a better understanding of the asset recovery processes. For any further inquiry, you can send an email to info@efccnigeria.org. Despite measures put in place to check the menace of corruption, the increasing rate of the scourge in our society is becoming alarming as the perpetrators have become unrepentant. Apart from the laws enacted to fight corruption in Nigeria, what role does orientation play in checking the menace? Does the family have a role to play in the fight against corruption? In the next report, Martha Eche offers answers to these poses. Please stay tuned.
Value has been defined as principles or standards of behavior that are generally acceptable of an individual. This includes an individual's judgment of what is good or bad. It is believed that internalizing the moral value of honesty in one's life makes them a trustworthy person. Your conscience will be clear because you can raise your shoulders high anywhere you find yourself. The people that you come into contact with will be able to count on you to be fair and sincere, as your integrity will not be in question, which will allow you to advance in both your personal and professional life. There are more opportunities for you to fully experience life and get opportunities to excel when you're an honest person. The issue of integrity brings us to the menace of corruption. A lot of Nigerians are no longer concerned about their integrity, which is evident in the way and manner public funds are being looted and diverted for public gains. Many individuals see positions of authority as an avenue to get rich quickly. Corruption, as many would say, is endemic in Nigeria. Everywhere we turn, the menace stares us in the face as funds meant for the provision of basic infrastructure have either been diverted or looted, giving birth to bad roads, poor health services and infrastructural decay, poor educational facilities, and a lot more. The federal government has since recognized these many problems and so established agencies to combat corruption and other forms of economic and financial crimes. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences, ICPC, and the Code of Conduct Bureau, CCB, amongst others, were created with each having its separate laws to eradicate corruption. Apart from the laws enacted to fight corruption, many have also looked at the family unit as an important tool in the fight against corruption. Here, corruption fight will be checked using the value system.
The parents should teach their children the right thing. First of all, when they send their children to school, they should let them know that they should study and pass their exams by themselves. That whatever they do, they have to earn it on merit. Because I believe some parents are the ones that allow their children to go into all these corrupt practices, malpractices. They even pay the teachers, buy question papers to allow these children to move further, to move to the next level. And these children, they are assimilating all these things and they know that their parents are doing this for them and they can continue with it because what your parents is doing and you're doing it, nobody will caution you about it.
I see in these things, it's all about the family, parents. It's the way you brought up your children that they will also move elsewhere, outside. We parents, we need to impact some things in our children. You need to teach them before any other thing. You're supposed to be the teacher, the real teacher. You have to teach your children what to do and you have to educate them to know the bad and the good thing in our country.
I am suggesting that we will start from home because home is the beginning of the whole thing. If you have a good family value, you will not be involved in the violence. You will not be involved in stealing. But because we have lost our family value, that is why Nigeria is going the way they are going. Just take for instance, in UNN, there is a child who the friends asked him to join an association. They call it one name, but the child came home and told the father, say, my friend asked me to join one association called the court. But the father, because the child was so close to the father, that was why he's able to disclose to the father. I am now advocating that parents should be close to their children and have time for them. The beginning of the whole destruction in this country started from home because a lot of parents are not at home. They don't know who associates with their children. They don't know how they go out and how they come in. They don't even know how they eat because they are looking for material things.
They need an orientation from the family, reorientation, and to educate them values, spiritual values, not ordinary moral values alone, spiritual values. And when they know what it takes for a man and a woman to stay as one, centered on God, then their lifestyle will change. They will now think of God first. And when they are thinking of God, they will not be corrupted in their heart.
Another thing for this corruption of a thing, if you teach your children how to struggle, how to just don't relent, don't look what other people are doing that is bad, just focus attention on what you are doing. Teaching children how to struggle, maybe after education they will learn, they will do other things to at least to keep life going. The children will not look back. They will know that maybe after secondary school education, either you learn trade or you learn how to sew machine or carpentry work or other things. Be contented with what they have. Children will follow suit. But a situation where you parents are not doing anything, tomorrow you bring this one, children will ask questions. Daddy or mommy, where? You say, don't worry. You have to tell your children where you are getting all those things. It's from my shop. It's from this my workshop. It's from this way. Or it's from a mechanic that we get this one. Children will know that they will have to struggle, fight, learn things, so that tomorrow they will be okay.
I think we are the role model to our children. It starts from the mother. Understand? You as a mother, you have to present yourself in a way that the child will not regret it in life. You understand? You inculcate things in the child that are positive. You don't fight in your child's presence. You understand? There's some things you don't say, like making call. You begin to lie, and your child is there watching. Before you know it, he sees it as a normal thing.
The young people, they often say, are the future of the world. The future of our country depends upon the moral values we imbibe in them when they are young. Children have an immense power of observation, and their feelings are deeply rooted. They always observe their parents at home and their teachers in school. For this reason, some respondents call on parents to be good examples to their wards.
If you have your children at home, you need to tell them how to manage the money that you have. That is to be content with what they have. To be content with what they have. They should not spend more than what your parent has at home. Then you show them, you also tell them that anything that they know you're capable of doing for them, they should be contented with it. They should not go outside and be looking at their friends, somebody else outside, that mommy, come and buy this thing for me. I saw these also things in my friend's place. I want to have it. No, you have to teach your children what you can do for them. They should accept you. Anything you can afford to them, they should accept you like that.
I think it should be a kind of general sensitization from the family. Should be taught to the children, and then immediately they get to school, because it starts even at the nursery level. You leave your own food, you go to take another person's food. That is corrupt practice. So at that level, it shouldn't be taught as a course, but as a kind of instilling values in children. And then for the general society, there should be massive awareness campaign about it, because some people that are indulged in corruption and corrupt practices may not even know that what they are doing is injurious to their own persons and the society as a whole. So the government should, through the arms already in place, bring out campaign that will sensitize people on the need to stay away from corrupt practices.
For a child, the process of learning is not magical. It is important that we instill a sound base of strong moral values into our children, as such values are extremely important for the overall well-being of a human life. We should all work towards a better Nigeria by imbibing good conduct, instilling discipline and good morals in our children. Honesty will surely make you respectable, reliable, and worthy as a person. Martha Eche reporting.
And with that, we have come to the end of today's episode of The Eagle. You too can be part of this program by sending your enquiries and suggestions to The Eagle at efccnigeria.org or follow us on all our social media platforms at Official EFCC. My name is Aisha Mohammed. I leave you with this parting words from Mahatma Gandhi, which says, "It is health that is real wealth and not pieces of gold and silver. So please stay safe and do the right thing always. Fight corruption. Be the one who helps build a better society. Goodbye and God bless Nigeria. And don't forget to be kind to one another."